In Australia in the 1880s, industry was booming, population rising, and people were awakening to the entertainment value of sport. In Melbourne, Australian football was gaining prominence and spreading through Victorian towns until it reached and extended beyond the New South Wales border. Southern New South Wales was the first region to support the game, but its appeal gathered traction in Sydney and Newcastle. There was a flurry of football activity in those early days, led ably by Philip Sheridan, the first president of the New South Wales Football Association. Intercolonial games against Victoria were hosted at the SCG in 1881, which saw matches contested between Victorian and SANFL clubs, including South Melbourne, perhaps a taste of things to come a century later. By 1883, games were underway across Sydney, Wagga Wagga, Hay, Narrandera and Newcastle. However, the 1890s depression meant by 1985, the game spiralled into decline in Newcastle and Sydney and faded into obscurity. If not for southern New South Wales and the Riverina, football could have been lost to New South Wales altogether. The extensive additions to the rail network throughout the region facilitated the spread of the game and the basis for local competitions. The region saw clubs springing up everywhere, including Ganmain, Lockhart, Mangopla, Osborne, Coolamon, Temora and The Rock. These are clubs where you can still play today. Thankfully, people such as Harry Hedger had a love for the game so deep he couldn't see it evaporate from New South Wales' most populous cities, especially Sydney. In 1903, Hedger convinced the VFL to play a match between Collingwood and Fitzroy for premiership points on the SCG that year and donate the gate takings to a new Sydney league. He was successful and it breathed life into the game in the Emerald City. New South Wales became a foundation member of the Australian National Football Council in 1906 and interest grew steadily. The Hume Football League was underway by 1907 and the South West Districts Football League was kicking by 1913. Football's forward momentum was temporarily halted due to Australia's involvement in the First World War, but not before the SCG hosted the National Carnival in 1914. During the war, the game was in danger of losing playing arenas in Sydney. League Secretary Jim Phelan was a strong advocate for the game and managed to arrange enough playing fields as well as chronicle the state of the game in local publications. Jim's legend is entrenched in football in Sydney and his impact across 47 years is unrivalled. In 1923, 8,000 spectators saw New South Wales defeat Victoria for the first time in a match at Erskineville Oval in Sydney. History repeated in 1925, inspiring footballers across the state, including plenty of juniors. The game was growing fans and traction, and there were big things to come.